The Shadow Weaver's Curse. Long ago, in a kingdom where the sun set in hues of fire and gold, there lived a weaver unlike any other. She was known as Seraphina, the Shadow Weaver, for her loom spun not threads of silk or wool, but shadows themselves. The people feared her, for they whispered that she could weave nightmares into cloth and bind the darkness to those who crossed her. Seraphina had not always been feared. As a child, she had been gifted with a magic unlike any other. With her fingers, she could pull the very essence of darkness and shape it into intricate designs, crafting cloaks that could make the wearer invisible, curtains that blocked out even the brightest light, and veils that hid faces from prying eyes. The nobility sought her gifts, and for a time, she was cherished. But power such as hers never goes unnoticed. One fateful night, the king of the land, a man driven by greed and fear, demanded that Seraphina weave him a tapestry so powerful it would ensnare his enemies in eternal night. He wanted a weapon, something to bind his foes in living shadow. Seraphina, knowing the weight of such magic, refused. Enraged, the king called her a sorceress, a demon disguised as a woman. He condemned her to exile, but before she was cast out, he burned her loom, hoping to rid the world of her magic forever. But magic is not so easily destroyed. As the flames consumed her beloved loom, Seraphina let out a cry so filled with sorrow that the very shadows trembled. With her final act of defiance, she wove the last of her magic into a curse. "If I am to be banished, let the darkness embrace this kingdom. Let its rulers know the pain of living without light." And so the curse took hold. The sun faltered, its golden rays dimming. Where once the kingdom basked in warmth, now the cold tendrils of night lingered. The king, furious and afraid, sent hunters to find Seraphina and force her to lift the curse, but she was nowhere to be found. The years passed, and the curse deepened. Shadows grew restless, stretching unnaturally, whispering secrets to those who dared to listen. Crops withered in the eternal dusk, and the people despaired. Tales of the Shadow Weaver became legend, a cautionary tale told to children to warn them of the dangers of defying magic. But hope is never truly lost. Many years later, a young girl named Ilara was born in the village beyond the cursed castle. Unlike others, she did not fear the dark. She had always felt a strange connection to the shadows, watching them dance and shift around her. When she listened closely, she could hear their murmurs, not of fear or malice, but of longing. One evening, as she sat by her small candle, a shadow detached itself from the wall and spoke to her. "Seek the weaver, child. Only she can mend what was broken." Ilara, though barely more than a child, understood what she had to do. She set out beyond the crumbling walls of the kingdom, past forests that whispered her name and rivers that shimmered like liquid onyx. Guided by the shadows, she journeyed deep into the forgotten lands where the weaver had been cast away. At last, she found Seraphina, living in solitude in a place where the stars still shone. The Shadow Weaver had grown old, but her eyes burned with the same fire they had on the night of her exile. "Why have you come, child?" Seraphina asked, her voice like the rustling of fabric in the wind. "To ask for your help," Ilara answered. "The kingdom is dying in endless dusk. They need light." Seraphina studied her, then sighed. "The curse was never meant to be undone. But you are different. You hear the whispers, don't you?" Ilara nodded. The old weaver smiled, and for the first time in years, she returned to her loom. This time, she did not weave with anger or sorrow, but with hope. She spun threads of shadow and light, interwoven into a single tapestry. When it was done, she placed it in Ilara's hands. "Take this to the castle. Hang it where the king once sat, and balance will return. Alara hurried home, carrying the precious tapestry. As soon as she draped it in the great hall, a change swept through the land. The darkness lifted, but the kingdom did not return to its former brilliance. Instead, night and day finally found harmony, neither overpowering the other. The people rejoiced, and Alara, the girl who listened to shadows, was named the new keeper of balance. As for Seraphina, she faded into legend, the woman who wove both light and dark. Her curse turned into a gift that would protect the kingdom for generations to come. And so, the Shadow Weaver's tale was no longer one of fear, but of redemption, proving that even in darkness, there is always the thread of hope waiting to be spun anew.